So now I want to look at this process of a breaking vessel. How do we know that, or when our vessel is breaking? So I think we can recognize that process of shattering and repair, of contraction and new expansion, is taking place by certain internal processes that begin to awaken inside of us. Sometimes it's clearer, sometimes it's not. But the first thing that happened is suddenly everything we know doesn't seem to add up anymore. And a real shattering, just nothing quite makes sense. Everything we thought about ourselves no longer seems true. And everything we thought about life now looks different. And we feel at a loss on how to move forward in our life. And we can't decide what path we want or need to follow. And most profoundly, we no longer understand what our place is in the world. And all of these questions and doubts and uncertainties are signs that our old vessel is shattering and that a new vessel is about to be built. We're about to receive a new understanding of ourselves, a new vision of our life, and a new perspective on this world. We don't know it yet. The Hasidic master, Rav Yoel, offers us an interesting explanation why there is a period where we feel cut off from ourselves in this way and from all our inner experience, as Sarah and Michael expressed, when we are breaking into a higher state of spiritual awareness and forging a new link with our soul. Seems a contradiction in terms. So Rabbi Yisrael explains that this occurs because on the one hand, we have not yet fully formed the vessel to hold the greater light of our new consciousness. And while on the other hand, the lesser light of the old vessel of consciousness is now blocked out by the spiritual radiance of the new light. In the same way that the light of a torch will engulf or overwhelm the light from a single candle. There is something much greater happening in our consciousness, which is just what we've been talking about now, than we can possibly be aware of with our little mind. And that greater transformation that's happening is cutting off all the usual places that we go to try and make sense of our world and to try and connect to God. And so he has a very nice interpretation of a verse in Psalms. And the verse is, "You've hemmed me in," and that there, the Hebrew word is sartani, which comes from the same root of meitzarim, from the narrow places. So you've hemmed me into this narrow place, behind and before, and laid your hand upon me. That's Psalm 139:5, for anyone who's interested. So he says, that is to say, I'm hemmed in or cut off spiritually, both from my former link behind and from my new link before, because your powerful divine presence, the divine hand, is overshadowing me. And God puts us into the state so that we will strive to reach higher and be able to experience and absorb this new and greater light. So on the one hand, we have the memory of the light that we've glimpsed, right? When there's a shattering, there's that light that comes in and we touch it, that's what shatters us, but we also have some memory of it. On the other hand, we feel cut off because we don't have the vessel of understanding or purity and vision to hold the light. But at the same time, the blessing is that despite this inner blockage, we intuitively know that the place of the light that we touch is where our answers will be found. So we begin to seek the light. We start to examine the different elements of our life and create a plan for moving forward. And this is just essential in that moment of crisis to think about, well, how do I move forward? What is happening? So how do we go about this process of seeking for the light? we start by reassessing our self-definition. Say, okay, this is what I thought I am about. This is who I am. Is that really so? And then we look at who we are and what we want, right? Is this person I am my real self? And is what I want what I should be wanting? Or a want is what I want, what's going to take me forward? And that's what we ask ourselves. The next thing is, what is life about? And what do I want to achieve in my life? It's the purpose of my existence. So we go deeper into fundamental questions about life, because those are the places that take us to the inner awareness of the divine and get us past all those outer circumstances and experiences that are blocking us out and keeping us from discovering our way forward. And after we've gone through this, we start to ask ourselves, what does it mean to be a vessel for God? And of course, it's someone that's more on the path that can have that question, but it can be, what does it mean to do something in this world? And how do I purify my vessel to get to a higher level of refinement? Because one of the things that happens, you think you're a wonderful person, and then suddenly you say, maybe there's something more there I need to learn. Maybe my heart's not as open as I thought. And you also ask, how do I expand my vessel and my heart and my mind to create more spiritual space to receive the divine light? And that requires knowing that this whole process is about moving into a place of greater expansion of consciousness and greater openness of heart. And those are the places that will give us the responses we're looking for. Those are the places that will open doors into that higher reality. And we may have gone through this process many times before. Some of us have gone over and over it in our lifetime. But now we dive into it again, looking for new answers, a new goal, a new self-definition, a new perspective on life. And then once we've gone through this inner reckoning, we set our search in motion. We read spiritual books, look for teachers who can guide us. And sometimes that's just our friends and neighbors. And we try to intensify or change our practice. We try to engage in activities that will open our hearts further and expands our minds. And we strive to reach towards the light, to touch that same place inside us that for one moment we knew. And because we've experienced that place before, we'll know when we've connected there again. But this time the connection will come in much greater fullness because we've been working on building a vessel to hold its power and its light and its consciousness.